Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today I kind of want to do a progress report on Battlefield 5. The game's been out for quite some time. The devs have, well, let's be honest, screwed up quite a bit since the game has come out, but we might be turning a little bit of a corner here. We'll see what the developers can do, especially leading up to the Pacific, which is still some pretty hotly anticipated content. Also, my voice might sound a little bit off. I'm getting over a cold at the moment, so please excuse that. So one of the things that inspired me to make this video today was the amount of fun I've been having in Battlefield 5, or more specifically in Operation Underground. Now, Underground is a spiritual reimagining of Operation Metro, and in my opinion, an improvement to the map overall. The gameplay mechanics tend to work out decently in Battlefield 5 as well. Not flawlessly, but the actual gameplay in Operation Underground, specifically in Breakthrough in my opinion, is top notch. Yes, there are problems with it. Team balance is probably one of the biggest problems with it, and then certain spammy mechanics can get a little annoying from time to time, and some areas of the map could use a little bit of work. But for the most part, the intensity, the extremely high ticket count, which means a much longer lasting game, and the ability to continuously work certain flanks and try and adjust your strategy and timing and skill, it's just this feeling that I haven't had since playing Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, really. I think Battlefield 5 has reintroduced a certain gameplay style that I've missed for a long time now. And seeing it be so fun in Underground and even, dare I say, improved by certain aspects of Battlefield 5, like building up fortifications on a flanking route as the assaulting team and putting on spawn beacons and basically turning new rooms and stuff into kind of makeshift spawn rooms. There's cool strategies and new interesting ways to approach this map that weren't possible in the previous games, and that's exciting and that's inspiring, and I have to give huge shout out to DICE for doing such a good job on this map. Yes, it still needs better team balancing. Yes, there's some areas on Breakthrough that need some better balance and whatnot, and the performance is definitely at an all-time low for a map, but I'm still having more fun on this than anything I've had in the past. And I think that's what has allowed so many previous Battlefield games to succeed. Even though Battlefield 4 launched with so many problems, so many bugs, so many issues, it was still extremely fun at its core. And that's what kept so many people coming back and playing it regardless and waiting for DICE to fix the things that were wrong with it. And that's what I'm feeling about Battlefield 5 right now, is this map has really made it fun for me. Now, having one map stand out so significantly among all the rest of the Battlefield 5 maps is a little bit of an issue. And I think that the private games, the new feature coming out in the next big content update for Battlefield 5, is going to play into this a lot. People will be able to set up infantry-oriented servers, large vehicle-oriented servers, general conquest servers, custom rule sets and whatnot. There's a lot of things in Battlefield 5 that I personally think are either bad or not enjoyable for a good portion of the population, and yet as servers stand right now, you have to cycle through all of them. And so what happens is servers drop out, or people will stick around and get frustrated with the gameplay style that they're not really into. Having these private game modes, I think, is going to help so much with the next update. Now, obviously, the next major thing to look forward to is the Pacific content. And as exciting as all that content is, with 2 new factions, new vehicles, new maps, new biomes, entirely different locations, it's not going to mean a whole lot unless DICE does enough to the core game. Something that I see addressed over and over and over again, both by myself, by other members of the community, on Reddit, all over the place, are just the assignment system in Battlefield 5. The assignments aren't fun. People have said they're not fun. It sort of makes up the core of Battlefield 5's progression system, and I've basically decided not to work on them at all anymore, because if I'm going to enjoy the game, it can't be assignment grinding. If I do assignment grinding, it's not fun at all. It used to be fun in other games where I could just play with certain weapons and classes and eventually master them and get them maxed out. In Battlefield 5, that is not the case. You have to be specifically working on some weird asinine way of playing the game, and it is absolutely miserable. DICE needs to redesign their assignment system. And frankly, they need to add in a bit more things to do. I know there's been a bunch of Tides of War and weekly challenges and stuff, but All that stuff dries up very quickly if you're a regular player of the game. If you look at other major titles, major games out there, there's so much content, so much progression, so many things to work on that you almost never run out of things to do. In Battlefield 5, we've got, what, a level cap of 500, but essentially it doesn't really mean anything because there's no unlocks tied into that progression tree. There's no cool skins that you get at like rank 100 or 200. DICE really needs to sort of flesh that whole system out much better. And then, of course, there's just general gameplay meta. I know you guys have been waiting to hear me say the meta word. Well, here it is. The infantry versus vehicle meta in this game is still very bad. I mean, my God, if you go back and look at Battlefield 1 versus Battlefield 5 when it comes to air versus ground relationships, oh my God, was it so much better. Infantry, all infantry had a decent way to fight against aircraft. Tanks had a decent way to fight against aircraft. Aircraft had fun times like fighting infantry on the ground, aside from things like maybe the strategic bomber, which came later in the game and broke down a lot of the fun factors, really. The balance was there from the start. It was fun from the start. The mechanics were fun from the start. Battlefield 5 is pretty much dismantled any sort of fun, entertaining infantry or ground versus air combat. Even hopping into an anti-aircraft cannon or an anti-aircraft tank feels very unfun trying to engage these vehicles that you're designed to engage and being relatively ineffective against them. DICE really needs to rework this aspect of the game from the ground up. In Battlefield 1, I could load an armor-piercing round and take out the wing of an aircraft as it was dive bombing, causing it to crash into the ground. I could throw an anti-tank grenade into the air and take out an airplane as it flew overhead. I could use some of the assault's rocket guns to take out aircraft as they flew by. Tanks were great at shooting down aircraft. The anti-air weapons on the ground were good at shooting down aircraft. Hell, I could even do it from horseback. There are so many tools as a ground player to take out aircraft. And aircraft, likewise, could spot easily and they could attack at the right moments and whatnot. Now it just feels very chaotic. There's no spotting for pilots to make appropriate engagement angles. The bullet convergence on most fighter planes is all over the place, so even if you're lined up perfectly on target, your shots aren't going to hit. Infantry have very few weapons available to them that can fight aircraft, and even if you get into the anti-air weaponry on the ground, it's moderately effective at taking out aircraft. I mean, it really doesn't do much. Most airplanes can fly away from you once you engage them. Considering just how many aircraft should be available in the upcoming expansion content for the game in the Pacific, this is something that DICE absolutely should work on dialing in and making more fun. And then, of course, there's progress on the anti-cheat software. Now, depending on where you play in the world, I think regions make a big difference on how much cheating you're going to see. Obviously, it's the worst in Asia, but if you live in a country or an area that is close by, you're probably going to get a lot of overflow hackers, which is what we get on the West Coast playing Battlefield. Unfortunately, we get a lot of high ping hackers in games, and it does tend to really ruin the experience. EA did just file a patent for some new anti-cheat software. Hopefully this is in regards to Battlefield 5, but I mean, when you're filing a patent for something like that, it's probably going to be in development for a while. So it could even be for the next Battlefield game. It could be designed around some of their other major titles. It's hard to say, but I really hope that they have a second factor of anti-cheat coming for Battlefield 5 in the near future, because the current factor is not particularly effective. Considering how often I see cheaters, it just doesn't feel anywhere near adequate. So, to kind of sum things up for this video, there's a lot of exciting content coming our way. I think DICE still has their work cut out for them in terms of what they could do and should do with Battlefield 5 before we start to enjoy that content. But Operation Underground has kind of revitalized my faith in this game a bit. It's fun. It's got its problems, like I said before, but at the core, it's really, really fun. The gameplay makes me want to come back, and there haven't been a lot of maps or modes in Battlefield 5 that have done so just yet. So that's exciting to see that good map design, good game mode design can be enough to really get me engaged again, to get me hooked on Battlefield again. And so I'm excited. I really hope the devs and the dev team can bring it together and get what they need done for the next chapter of Battlefield 5 content. Maybe this game can still turn a corner and become what hopefully it was meant to be. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Have you been enjoying Operation Underground? What about Alcyon Dawn? Are you pumped for the Pacific, or have you just given up on Battlefield altogether? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.